Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is the King's Advisors. My name is Dan. I'm joined by my co host, Caleb.
What's up, everybody?
And today we're here to discuss some of the topics that are near and dear to our heart. Just kind of something we just wanted to make something positive and put some goodness out there with some stuff that we like that isn't just the usual trash that we're fed most of the time. So, Caleb, what are we here to talk about today?
So, we've got some pretty interesting news coming from House of the Dragon. As everyone knows, everyone that's watched the channel knows, we are absolutely in love with House of the Dragon. I think I've said it before. Uh, I thought it was going to be Warner's version of Rings of Power. I thought it was going to be terrible. I got a text Thursday after the first episode released, said, Caleb, you need to watch it. You need to watch it. So I watched it. I was hooked. I was sitting in my chair 9 p.m. every Sunday night, ready to watch it. Loved it. Best show that came out last year. The news we have today is going to be very important to the Dance of Dragons, the Targaryen Civil War that's going to, well, I guess is already kicked off in episode 9, where they crown Aegon. So I guess the dance is kicked off, and it's time. It's time for war.
This is the time of war.
And
Nigh is the
boys,
time of sword and axe. That's a different show, though.
fire and blood will rain from the skies is what's going to happen.
It's
So,
gonna get
as
nasty.
everyone who's watched the show remembers, in episode 10, when Damon and Rhaenyra are discussing battle strategy and stuff like that, Rhaenyra is really like, I don't want to fight. What about this? What about that? And Damon is just, let's go. Come on. We are fighting. Let's go. We're ready for this. He's got blood in his eyes. And there's a moment where he kind of lists out the dragons. And it's a really cool moment. I'm a big fan of it. Because we kind of get an explanation. No, what's that called in a TV or a movie where they try to explain something to the audience? Exposition. We get some exposition really without knowing it. And I think that's one of the really cool things about this show. They don't sit there and tell you they're telling you something.
Well, that's what was always nice about, it was kind of nice to stretch our legs in Westeros again. And that's what one of my favorite parts about House of Dragon is that it felt like some of those earlier seasons of Game of Thrones where they didn't have to hold your hand. Like it was I always found it was better to be left wanting more from the episode than like knowing exactly what was going to happen, because they like show you exactly what's going to happen like 5 times, like they started to do at the end of the show, where it was like, you know, you basically could guess what was going to happen because you knew that they were just trying to wrap it up. And that's what encouraged me to read the books, was that I was like, oh man, I got to have more. And I think that's what they can do here again, is like, leave it a little bit more mysterious and not answer every single question. That's going to leave people wanting to go and buy the books and get engaged with the fandom more. So that's what I think. That is, if that's the direction they're doing on purpose, then kudos to them. It's well done.
Oh yeah, I agree. And so the moment I was talking about, when they're doing this exposition without sitting there looking at you like, hey, we're going to tell you something, that a lot of TV shows seem to do today, is when they're all around the painted table, which, as you can see, we have here in our background. Beautiful, beautiful thing. If I ever win the lottery, I won't tell anyone, but there will be proof. And one of them will be, I will buy a painted table that will be lit
So
up underneath by candles.
there's some trivia about like the painted table they use versus the one they use in Game of Thrones and stuff, because of the time gap. Obviously, like
Right.
some of the castles shouldn't exist yet on the one that they're using. There's a couple. I'd have to dig deep into the fandom again and it wasn't exactly like harped on like the Starbucks coffee cup, because it was like, okay, chill out, everybody. But it was more like interesting. It was like, oh yeah, I guess the table would be different from when Aegon built it to when Rhaenyra used it, and Daemon to when Stannis uses it. Like, he's the one who has it now. Well, according to the official position, the Lannisters took Dragonstone with heavy losses.
Right, yeah. So the moment is that, they're all around the table and they're kind of discussing battle strategy. We get that beautiful line. Let me see if I pulled up the script here. I want to see if I can find it real quick. There has never lived a Stark who forgot an oath, and with House Stark, the North will follow. I love that because it pulls you to that first season of Game of Thrones. There's that beautiful connection, and you're just like, yep, until they don't.
Just wait until wait until the Stark of the show gets introduced. Like, he's already people's like, but some of his, like, he's one of people's favorite characters in the entire timeline. And I can only imagine, like, if they get the casting right, we probably shouldn't see him until next season. But
this is what's his name again?
Cregan Stark.
That's right, Cregan. So later on in that discussion, we get pray forgiveness of my bluntness, your grace, but talk of men is moot. Your cause owns a power that has not been seen in this world since the days of old Valyria. Dragons. The Greens have dragons as well. They have 3 adults by my count. And this is the point that I'm talking about. We have Cyrax, Caraxes, and Melees. Your sons have Virmax, Arax, and Tyraxes. Bella has Moondancer. Then she says, Daemon, none of our dragons have been to war. And he says, there are also unclaimed dragons. Sea Smoke, Silver's Eyes on Driftmark, Varithmore, and Silverwing dwell in the Dragon Moon, still riderless. And then the 3 wild dragons. And so we get to know the count. 13 dragons for the blacks and 4 for the greens. And what's so interesting here is he lists 5 dragons that are unclaimed. Sorry, 6 dragons. They're the 3 wild dragons, and then Sea Smoke, Vermithor, and Silverwing. And that leads us into the topic for this video. And they're called the Dragonseeds. And they are, I don't know, Dan, how would you describe them?
They are cool, unique characters that enter on one side of the conflict. But they're conflicted characters too. They have their own personalities, and it's a good introduction of a group of characters that are going to change, that weren't in the first season. Didn't matter. Like, it wouldn't have had any role in the first season at all. Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting to see their dynamic with the rest of the cast now, like especially with the Valerians and Corlys. Because a few of them come from Dragonstone, so they should already have like a rapport with Daemon. There should already kind of be this little, like, because they're all like unacknowledged Valyrian bastards, really. Like, they're all supposed to have white hair. Like, Adam and his brother Alan are supposed to be, like, they're allegedly Laenor's bastards, which is why they reside on Driftmark. But
so real quick, let's share our screen here. This is Clinton Liberty. He will be playing Adam Valerian. And this is actually a picture of him. This comes from RedanianIntelligence.com. I hope I said that right. But they've been pretty giant on the spot with, let's call them, leaks. So this is Adam Valerian playing, this is Clinton Liberty playing Adam Valerian. And I've been looking at this picture for a little while, and I couldn't figure out what was off. And I realized it while we were talking earlier, and he doesn't have white hair, which I would have thought would be weird, with him being a Valerian bastard.
Well, he's supposed to have white hair.
Okay. So he's supposed. So do you think this could just be a practice run and he just doesn't have the wig on yet? Or do you think there's just
Yeah. I mean, that would be. It doesn't seem like they've been afraid to use the white hair.
yeah.
It,
Oh,
that's
oh
how
yeah.
it's like. That's how people kind of know they're Valerian, like
Right. Mm-hmm.
or Targaryen. It's so. I wish he would have named the other Valyrian family not Valerion.
Yeah,
Like
I agree with you there. Yeah.
it's like, please, why did you make the Valyrian family's name Valerion? Because now it just makes it difficult to like have a conversation about it. But whatever, that doesn't matter. It's just yeah. So maybe hopefully, as it doesn't, there's all people around. They're obviously not shooting. Maybe that's just a little roll, and they're gonna maybe it's.
Well, let's see. We got a picture here. So there is camera work going on. I don't know.
I don't know.
mean,
Maybe they're gonna make it a plot point. Maybe he's gonna like dye his hair. He's like Corliss is gonna be like, you need to look more like my family, and then he's like gonna.
well, so that's the thing. So
Is that him and his brother too? Is that his brother behind him too? Is that Alan of Hull behind him?
right here.
Yeah, it looks like they're kind of wearing the same outfit, doesn't it?
I mean, I think he's wearing shorts.
Is that guy like a? Oh, I don't think he's in the shot. I think he's like a extra. I don't know because it looks like he's got a backpack on too. Sorry.
Well, let's see. I need to make sure I don't get super up close to my mic. I don't see, this is the wide shot, and I don't see anyone over there by him. He could just be someone that is just standing there making sure, or she. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. You're right. I think they're in, whoever it is. They're in shorts, and they're not in that shot.
Oh,
so.
but no. This is him. This is that person though, kneeling just like Adam is right here. So
It looks
it
like
could
a bag they have on.
It could be some sort of
rehearsal or something.
Yeah, maybe it is his brother in the thing. So let me go ahead and introduce the other two guys that have been cast. Kieran Bew as Hugh Hammer and Leon Ockenden possibly as Wolf the White. Now,
yeah, those guys look like who you'd imagine Lord Hammer to be.
Now, I want to kind of explain Dragonseeds. And in order to do that, we are going to use probably the best wiki there is. And it's the wiki of Ice and Fire. So, I'm not going to read the thing. You know how you learn in school when you have a PowerPoint up, you don't read everything on the PowerPoint. But I just kind of want to explain real quick what Dragonseeds are. So Dragonseeds were basically baseborn dragon riders. And they what happens is, or what we're told happens, because once again, Fire and Blood is a history book. It's the accounting of several maesters, and during for the couple chapters that deal with Dance of the Dragons, it's a maester talking to like 3 different people, and the accounting of the Dragonseeds comes from Mushroom, who is the dwarf jester for Rhaenyra, right, Dan?
Mushroom is, yeah.
And so apparently Mushroom told Jacaerys, hey, you should go promise a knighthood in a kingdom to a beautiful wife. You know what Brahma the Blackwater is promised by what's his name? Well, I guess Tyrion promises him as well, but also oh my God, what is the name of the main Lannister? You're killing me, Dan.
Dude, I'm sorry. Wait, what was the question? I thought you were talking to yourself.
Yeah, what's the name of Tyrion's brother?
Tyrion's Jamie?
Jamie, thank you. We
Oh
are
my
keeping
god.
that in. We are keeping that in.
I don't know if you want to.
He
And
is he's promised a stout keep and all that by Tyrion and Jamie later. But so that's basically what Jaehaerys promises anyone that can master a dragon. You see here and here. Let me zoom in so that's just a little easier for you to see on the screen there. You can see here he offered lands, riches, and knighthood to any such man that could master a dragon. The sons of that person would be ennobled, and his daughters would be wed to lords. So this is their attempt at bolstering their dragon forces. They've got 14 dragons, but they only have 6 riders. I think I got my math right there. So they need more riders. Though, Dan, I'm curious, and I hope you know, why can't they just say, well, we've got 6 riders, 7 or 8 that don't have a rider, but that's okay.
yeah,
Why does the
yeah. I
dragon need a
mean,
rider?
well, other without a rider. So this is where it gets kind of like a little nitpicky with
Okay,
the dragon lore. So it's like George R. R. Martin had already written that all the dragons are dead, right? But
right,
now he's got a conflict where there's a lot of dragons and dragon bind, like there's dragon mages and there's dragon mountain. It seems like there's a lot of dragons, right? You know what I mean?
right,
So we're all of a sudden now forced to come up with dragon histories and riders and names and logistics of a fight between them. So it's like, okay, well they've got 3 way more experienced dragons. Yeah,
right.
the
They're the
blacks have
biggest.
Caraxes.
Yeah, they're
Yeah, but
some of the
Caraxes is
biggest ones.
yeah, I mean they've got Vagar, which is scary enough, should be scary enough. You know what I mean? And but then they've got to get into like, okay, well, whoever controls King's Landing and Dragonstone seem to control a lot of dragon production. So
Right.
how are we going to write that? And then we're going to, that'll come in. I don't know if it's this season or next season, but we're going to get to the storming of the pit. But that's neither here nor there. So I never really got into like the whole like numbers of like. There's a lot of people who do get into the numbers of the
Yeah.
dragons, like in the universe and stuff like that. But for all intents and purposes, you'd want a dragon rider to be able to actually put the dragon where they want the dragon in combat. So it's like you
Okay.
could release Vermithor and Silverwing and Sea Smoke, and you could see what they do. I mean, without somebody on them, aren't they just kind of free to do whatever they want? You know?
Okay.
Like,
So it's sort of a control thing. It's
yeah,
not.
definitely. It's definitely a control thing. It's more of like you can't really use them as threats if you can't put them on a battle at the right time.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
So
Well,
that's why they need the
that makes a lot of sense.
dragon. Yeah, that's why they need the dragon riders to be like, okay, well, you guys take 2 dragons to Driftmark, and you guys take one of like hold these positions. Let it be known that there are dragons here. You know what I mean? Whereas like if you just release them, that's why there are already wild dragons in this time.
Yeah.
So
We got down here a list of the Dragonseeds. And the one that we kind of want to discuss right now, and that is Adam Valerian, mostly because it's
probably the most popular.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting topic considering
Yeah.
the Valerians and them being
He's
black
legitimized
and
and
all that.
stuff. Yeah.
So it is believed. So there's 2 different
accounts.
There's 2 different accounts for who Adam is. Adam is either, well, I guess technically there's 3. Adam is either the baseborn son of Laenor Valerian, who is Rhaenyra's first husband, or he's the baseborn son of Corlys Valerian, who is her
more likely
father-in-law. And then I obviously know the third account, which I guess is just kind of me making something up, is just he's just a guy that they found that could conquer a dragon. But with the magic of the people from Valeria, it feels more like he's definitely not a just rando baseborn person. But the thing that I like about this is He's a very interesting dude.
Yeah, he's one of people's favorite characters, like in the whole like timeline. Like there's a lot of people's favorite characters in the timeline here, and you're going to get a lot more people who are like, if we get a good camp scene, like a war camp scene where all the night, like a bunch of lords are in their armor, all talking about battle strategy, you're going to get a lot of favorites out of that. Like you're going to get the Baratheons, you're going to get the Lannisters.
Oh,
On the
dude, I
side,
cannot wait to see war moot. I just can't wait. It's gonna be so cool.
They've already done a really good job with like when they went hunting. I was really impressed with that because that's essentially what like a light war camp would look like all the different banners, tents, but everyone's a lot more jovial. Like the enemy is nature, so But like a war camp is going to be like I remember the first season of Game of Thrones when Tyrion shows up to Tywin's.
Oh yeah,
that was like one of my favorite scenes because it's like. Yes, like this is what would be the experience of a lot of people at this time.
The second season at I almost said John's at Rob's war camp. Oh, he won't be living here alive.
No, I know. I just don't like to talk about the campaign.
I know, it's so sad.
Oh well, it had to happen, I guess, for the whole story to take place.
Yeah. But what's interesting about this is that I believe it's Mushroom that says Adam is Laenor's son, which is weird considering Laenor's predilections for men were well known at the time. So it seems weird that he would have been, especially if they'd go that route in the show, it seems weird that he would have been able to have a child, earlier.
Well, that's why it's pretty much assumed that it's Corlys's child.
Which the interesting thing about that is that's what I would have expected some dark storyline in the first season to be. That, don't worry, you'll have one, even if Corlys has to give it to you. Like, I would have expected something that dark, especially with George.
Yeah, that would have been a good part if they were like, if him and his brother had a conversation, right? If he's like, aren't you worried about our blood? He's like, no, I've got a plan. Like, I've got the perfect heir. I've socked him away. And I've got to back up to him because he's like, that's who Corlys is. Like he's got his heir, who's his son, that he loves and is probably trained and took care of. And then he's got his little brother, Alan, who's also believed to be Corlys' son on the same woman. So,
right.
I don't know. It would have been an interesting dynamic. I think, I hate to say it, you can go back to our earlier shows when the House Dragon was airing. They're kind of making one side the goodies and one side the baddies. So I don't know if they want to have that kind of depth for Corlys, so
it's interesting. We are supposed to get Laenor back this season.
That's going to be interesting. I mean, I would imagine at this point that Daemon will kill him.
Well, but this is
because he needs his dragon, because his dragon won't cooperate, and the dragon, we know in the story that the dragon cooperates. So that means that writers are like, well, how can we make the dragon cooperate? Like maybe they read the criticism. They were like, well, maybe if Laenor's alive, and now they can make it so it's like Rhaenyra really was trying to be nice and let him live, but Daemon tracked him down and killed him, because he needed sea smoke. You know, which is compelling. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, that's not bad. But I think it also is making Rhaenyra a lot less of the character she was in the books and more of, like, this stoic, look at these men around me ruin it. Yeah. Yes. Like, and like, almost like having lost control of Daemon. Which is ironic because the entire reason she's the heir, which is why I always was frustrated with her choices. Like people are like, well, she's the heir. Like that's the end of it. I'm like, okay, tyrant, like you absolutist. Okay. You know what I mean? But that's neither here nor there. It's just like when the entire point of her being chosen heir was to keep Daemon as far away from the throne as possible. She thanks her dad by going and marrying Daemon and giving him the throne. Yeah. It's like, dude, what did you, what? And then it's like supposed to be like, oh, well, she's actually honoring her father by choosing to be queen. It's like, no, she's not.
Yeah. So
I don't know. That's my opinion, though. I'm like,
do you think Well, oh, real quick, I did want to show this picture. So these are, oh, hang on. There we go. So these are pictures of filming. This is filming in Wales. And I thought it was really interesting that this is how, they've got the blue people with the dragon head right there. We
Oh
can
shit!
clearly
Yeah,
see
that's what
some
that
white
is.
hair right there.
Is it
That
Damon?
person 100%'s got white hair. So
I don't know.
I'm curious. We've got one person in this scene. So is this going to be, I'm wondering if like off to the distance, there's a line with like, hey, pay 5 crowns, see if you could ride a dragon.
Well, it is. It does have a specific name. One of the maesters calls it. It's like the red. What's it called? Sowing of the seeds, or the red sowing, which is because so many people die and try.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Oh yeah, it's not just like hey, you three, come here and try this. It's like, I think, depending on how dark they want to get, because in the books it's not spelled out exactly. It's just, it's a historical tale. So the red sowing makes it seem like, I would say like a few hundred people tried.
Okay.
And that's why they have to trust these people with the dragons, because they're the only ones able to control them. And they've already bonded now. Like, you'd have to kill them.
Oh, yeah. So overall, how excited are you? So I don't know if you have been like watching spoilers. I've seen some stuff, but the stuff that I've seen is more like this, like who's been cast and maybe some shots. But overall, like, how excited are you for what you've heard? I mean, you've read it, so you know what's coming.
Well, my honest opinion is that I cannot wait to be back in Westeros. I love setting up for a scene and like, oh, where are we? Who's that? Oh, okay, that's who they cat. Okay, that's cool. All right, dude, that armor looks good. Oh man, that looks a little bad. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I did, how I had some criticisms, and they've not been. I'm really excited for the second season to like less Rhaenys girl boss moments and more hunting camp scenes.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree.
I need more grand strategy, especially because that's what this is all about. Like, you're going to have Otto talking with other lords about how to move their host up the Rose Road. You know what I mean? Like, I want that scene. I don't want them just being like, "Oh, our army's here." It's like, oh, geez, I hate it when the army just shows up. That would be
this
like
being
an earthquake moving across the continent, like 50,000 men moving.
With the second season being only 8 episodes, there's a lot of thought that this is going to be the grand planning season, that there's going to be a lot of buildup, and season 3 is going to start with that big battle.
I think that'd be good, because that way they can like really build up the season they can control an ending for.
And they can use season 3 to do payoff.
That's what I mean. And so then they can end it on season 3 and then make this perfect 3-season show and be like, look,
it's 4. It's 4 seasons.
Oh yeah, because they're going to do 8. So it's probably going to be like,
so season 4 episodes. I think it's supposed to be like the
like setting up where the families are going to be for like kind of Game of Thrones. Yeah, there's a lot more that happens too, because that's where all the Dunk and Egg stuff is going to happen. So
so Dunk and Egg, I'm really excited for that. I think Dunk and Egg, the novella that he gave us, I think there's supposed to be 5 stories. The book has 3 of them in it. So I'm really excited for that. I think
there's supposed to be at least 7. Like, I mean, there's confirmed other stories we know about that they get involved with. So if they don't write about that stuff, then I'll be honest with you, man. We've probably gotten all we're going to get.
No, because he's just not going to finish.
I don't think he is. If he's not cranking these out, like, these are perfect little exposition, world building. Like if he didn't, like, he hasn't had a POV in the Westerlands yet, right? In 5 books, we've gotten like a ton in other places. We are starting to get some in Old Town now, so that's the Reach getting covered. A High Garden one would be nice. Like a Tyrell POV would be nice if you want us to care about them.
Right, exactly.
We've got 4 Greyjoys we're POV with, so we have 1 Tyrell, and but that's that's what he should be cranking out. Like, oh, and then it's like, I know it's not Winds of Winter, but I've got another Dunkin' Egg. It's like, oh, okay, these are good. Like, we like these. Get back to work on that other one though. You know.
I feel the same way. Yeah.
And if he's not doing that, like if he hasn't made one of these in forever, I don't even know how long has it been since he made the Mystery Night. I think that came out in 2015.
The Mystery Night. What was that?
That's the third novella. So it goes the Hedge Knight, the Sworn Sword, and the Mystery Night, which came out in.
Oh wait, is that in the book A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms?
Yeah, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is just the collection of them.
Oh, okay. Yes. So yeah, I've read all of it. I've read A Knight.
It came out in 2017.
Okay. Yes.
So that's pretty much the most juicy recent whatchamacallit we've gotten in a long time. Exposition and information, and like, because that one's all about like a Blackfire rebellion, and it's it's one of my more favorite ones. Even my fiance Sydney likes it. She doesn't really like the grand scale of like the other 5 books, but she liked following Dunkin' Egg for like 3 books. She was like, "Oh, I like this."
It's an easy thing to follow.
Yeah, and it's fun. Like, it's way more fun.
Yeah,
that's what he should have written the whole time.
You know, as we draw to an end in this one, it is important to remind everybody that it has been 4,365 days since The Dance with Dragons was released, or 11 years, 11 months, and 9 days.
In 2 more days, that's going to be cool. 11 years, 11 months, 11 days.
Give me the damn book, George. And with that, as always, thank you very much for stopping by and hanging out with us. Thank you so much for watching. Please drop a like and subscribe, and feel free to follow us on Twitter at King'sAdvisors_.